Never leave anyone behind. Our fighting men and women carry that creed in their hearts and souls. Tonight, in honor of Veterans Day, we want to tell you about an extraordinary film that tracks the search for Marines who gave their lives on a tiny island in the Pacific during World War II. The filmmaker is here, but before we meet him, here's a clip. Wow. Joining us now is this gentleman, Leon Cooper, an author and retired naval officer whose personal story set the wheels in motion to begin the search for Marines on the island of Tarawa. Also with us, filmmaker Stephen Barber. His first documentary, Return to Tarawa, told Leon Cooper's life story. It ran on Discovery's military channel. Until They Are Home is the follow-up that documents the actual search. That is actually what we just watched, was those men and women searching for the servicemen from World War II who have still been unaccounted for. Mr. Cooper, to both of you, it's a pleasure to have you here tonight. Thank you for coming. But I think, Mr. Cooper, it's an honor for all of us to have you here for everything you've done. You began this mission 2 years ago when you went back to Tarawa. Tell us about what happened when you got there and what it put in motion.
My reason for going was to see what I could do about removing the garbage from Red Beach, where I had seen scores of my countrymen fall under heavy Japanese gunfire.
And when you got there, you found more than just garbage was the issue.
I was really shocked and frankly angered when I learned that perhaps hundreds of Americans still lie where they fell in a battle that took place almost 70 years ago in unmarked graves.
And we're looking at you in your return to the beach there, Red Beach. You said you could still see the corpses in the water of your fellow servicemen.
There were hundreds of corpses in the lagoon, only a short distance away from the beach where I stood watching the Japanese beat the hell out of us.
Stephen Barber, you documented that trip back there to Tarawa, and your documentary rattled some halls in Congress. Tell us about that and what it caused.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Basically, the movie got picked up by Discovery Military Channel, and it upset quite a few Marines. One in particular, he got hold of Congressman Lipinski out of Chicago. They wrote the legislation. The legislation was passed, and there was a congressional mandate that led us back there, all because of Leon Cooper's hard work. Leon spent years and years and years writing and calling people, and because of that, the JPAC invited, the JPAC, of course, is the Joint POW-MI Accounting Command, invited me back, and we just spent 34 days in the bush with my producer, Matthew Hausle, and myself, filming this new movie, Until They Are Home.
And that's, as I said, that's the video we saw, and I know we even have some more video that we can show people of all of the sifting that was going on. It's arduous work. But Mr. Cooper, they found the remains of 2 U.S. servicemen. Not enough for you.
No, there are hundreds there. I know very well the daughter of a Congressional Medal of Honor recipient. A guy by the name of Lieutenant Bonneman's remains are still there, his daughter assures me.
Well, so what do you want to have happen? And this goes out to both of you. I think Mr. Cooper's a little more angry about this than you are, Stephen, but I think both of you want another trip.
That's an understatement, my anger.
Right.
I might point out, Jeff, that a letter I received yesterday, in fact, is one of hundreds of letters that I received that says it all, if I may.
Okay.
Read the letter.
Not the whole letter, but a little bit of it.
Not the whole letter, and certainly I'm not going to mention her name. But the letter says in part, my uncle, and her name not mentioned, died in the bloody Battle of Tarawa on November 20, 1943. His body was never recovered. And she goes on to say that the letter that he received the day before he died, he said, "I'll be home for Christmas." Of course, he never returned, and indeed his body was never found. One of hundreds of bodies who still lie there in unmarked graves.
So, Mr. Cooper, on this Veterans Day, what needs to happen? And not just Tarawa, but all of the South Pacific, all of the beaches that still have remains of U.S. servicemen.
The number of dead still in Tarawa are but a token compared with the tens of thousands of men who are missing in action, according to the Department of Defense. They acknowledge that up to 40,000 MIAs are still there lying in unmarked graves where they fell in battles that took place all over the Pacific Ocean. And I want to see a major effort done by our government to undertake a major effort to recover the bodies of all these guys who died in defense of our country.
It's amazing that we still have men like you who are reminding us that this needs to be done, because as we're reminded every Veterans Day, Memorial Day, it's a generation that is quickly slipping away from us. Stephen, when is this documentary going to see the light of day? I know this all just happened within the last 2 months or so.
Just got back about a month ago. It's in post right now. We had the great Ed Harris narrate the first one, so I've pitched it out to Matt Damon about possibly narrating, Nick Nolte. I've taken it to Clint Eastwood. I've taken it to Morgan Freeman. So everybody in town knows about the film. And they can also, I would encourage people to go to snagfilms.com or Hulu. They can watch it for free. The more people that know about it, the better. This is Mr. Cooper's story. Leon Cooper is not the only World War II veteran, but he's the last World War II veteran in the battle. And my life is better for it. And I can't tell you how many hundreds of emails and letters he's received and I've received. People want closure. It's mind-boggling, but even after 68, 70 years, they want closure. I just got an email yesterday from a guy out in Vegas, like, my uncle died in Tarawa. Do you think you can help? So I would encourage people to see the movie and write their congresspeople, and we want this movie to get made so we can get more congressional legislation.
Not only do they want closure, but I believe they need and deserve closure.
Absolutely.
I'll give you the last word, Mr. Cooper. Keep it clean, by the way, but go ahead. All right.
You've seen my film, obviously. I'm making a major effort. By the way, I didn't retire, I quit. I have set up a nonprofit corporation that will publicize the what can only be called the scandal or shame of America, all the guys who still lie there. All of the 40,000 plus guys are still there. And this letter that I got yesterday indicates, not very dramatically, but extremely clearly, that there's so many people who's the next of kin, they're going to be dying before too long, so there will be no one to honor the remains of these guys who are brought back.
All right. Mr. Cooper, thank you very much. Leon Cooper, Lieutenant Leon Cooper, and Stephen Barber, I thank you both. And I just might want to point out, at 91, he reads the letter without glasses. I've got glasses, unlike me. Thank you both.
Thank you, sir.
All right.